In the 1980s and 1990s, the state of New Jersey began implementing a program to deinstitutionalize the mentally ill by releasing them from psychiatric hospitals. The state's goal was to transition individuals from psychiatric hospitals so they could rejoin their communities. They would be treated by community health systems and would be provided with housing and services in towns and neighborhoods where they lived. In theory, this was a sound concept, but it was a one-size-fits-all solution to a disease where treatment solutions must include the realities and the needs of the individual consumer. This model proposed discharge from the psychiatric hospital and placement in traditional group home settings. These group homes were frequently not the right choice for consumers with histories of long-term hospitalizations. In order to remain stable, people with serious and persistent mental illnesses needed more support and higher levels of care than traditional group homes offered. Unfortunately, housing options that provided these care levels did not exist in the 1980s and the 1990s. In the 1990s, Irene Black was your typical suburban housewife. She lived in Bergen County with her late husband Martin and their two daughters, Sandra and Eva. Unfortunately, Sandra developed severe mental illness as a young adult and eventually became a resident in one of New Jersey's state psychiatric hospitals.
So you and Martin are married, and then you have your girls.
I have my children, right?
Right.
And my oldest, it turned out that she became mentally ill. She was the most beautiful baby. So gorgeous that the nurses showed her around right when she was born. And whenever I took her anywhere, people's heads turned. That's how beautiful she was. And when she got to be an older teen over here in Teaneck, all of a sudden she
got sick.
She became ill.
So as a result of your daughter becoming ill, is that what prompted you to become such a passionate advocate for mental health?
I guess so, but I was an advocate for something or other all my life, from day one.
When deinstitutionalization began, Irene's daughter was discharged to the community where it became apparent that she would not be able to receive the services she needed, and she began a constant cycle of being readmitted to the psychiatric hospital and then unsuccessfully discharged back to the community.
Well, I tried to get her some help.
Okay.
And whenever I made an appointment for her to see a psychiatrist, she would run away. I couldn't get her to see anybody. So what was I to do? I didn't know what to do. So finally, she ended up in Bergen Pines at the time.
Irene was a mother determined to help her child. She began actively searching for housing options where her daughter would be safe and would also receive the services and support needed for her to live a stable life in the community. Irene quickly discovered that type of housing did not exist. Irene became a woman with a clearly defined mission. She needed housing for her daughter, and since it didn't exist, she was going to do everything she could to change the situation. Irene became a fierce and tireless advocate for community-based housing that met the intense and specific service needs of the chronically mentally ill who had been discharged into the community from a state psychiatric hospital.
Irene, can you tell me, how did you become involved in mental health advocacy?
I submitted this article to the mayor in Teaneck. He was having a meeting, and I was asked to submit this article that they were putting into the library where they have for the high school. So Matthew Feldman took this information down and the article and submitted it to the high school for me. And all of a sudden, he came across with that they needed somebody on the mental health board. They needed an additional person. And he asked me if I would want to do that, and I volunteered. Yes, I would. And so he recommended me to the governor, who was Jim Florio at the time. And so I got appointed to the State Board of the Mentally Ill. of the state of New Jersey.
Pretty amazing accomplishment. How long did you serve on the board?
I served, I think, altogether 8 years.
For the next several years, Irene spent countless hours attending meetings and state hearings, talking to state legislators and mental health officials, and crisscrossing the state to be wherever they needed to be in order to advocate and educate.
I became a member of NAMI, and I would take the problems from the Bergen County Board and present them at the state board. And that's how I met all the different people that I advocated for the mentally ill.
As a result of Irene's efforts and determination, CBH Care was awarded a state grant in 1998 to create and operate a residential program that would assist consumers transitioning from the state psychiatric hospital back into the community and provide them with the 24/7 support and supervision they needed to remain stable and out of the hospital.
It's amazing, and hundreds of people have gone through the program as a result of what you did.
My efforts were always writing to different people, getting acquainted with people that were in charge, so that I could advocate and tell them what needs to be done for people that are mentally ill, and that people need help even if they don't want it, which was the case with my daughter. She refused all sorts of interference and help. They need to be cared for even if they don't want it. So somehow this became a law. This was one of the laws that I initiated, that people need to have assistance even if they don't want it. If the professional sees that the person needs help, it's up to the professional to make sure that they get it.
CBH Care's Care and Hope at Morris Plains, CHAMP program, opened its doors in 2000. Irene's daughter was the first resident. Today, CHAMP and CBH Care's affiliated partnership residential program occupy 10 villas adjacent to Greystone Park Psychiatric Hospital in Morris Plains. CHAMP provides housing for 40 consumers. The affiliated partnership houses an additional 48 consumers. Since these programs opened, Irene Black's mission and advocacy has transformed the lives of over 250 persistently mentally ill consumers. Some have successfully transitioned completely back into their community and no longer require care. Others have transitioned to lower and less intensive levels of care in the community. Some others still require 24/7 care, but have remained stable in the community and out of the hospital.
So Lou, how has living at the partnership program helped you manage your overall health and well-being?
It's really helped me a lot because they have a program here that gives you structure. It starts 9:30 every morning, Monday through Friday, and they tell you, how to run your day. And I go out for walks and I get fresh air and I participate in the groups. And Ed is really good, who works in our villa. Anne Marie is great. Nicole, my social worker, is great. And all the people really help with everything. I like Keisha, I like Chris, I like Joe over there, I like Jen, I like Jess, they're all really nice. So it's really helped a lot, and basically I love the partnership,
So Patricia, you've been here for 3 years, since 2015. What would you say is your favorite thing about living at the partnership program?
Get to go out once a week, get to go shopping, get the things that we need, get to meet new people, new friends, it's a tremendous help,
And you have been working, which was one of your goals that you met.
Yes,
So
definitely.
do you think that living at the partnership has been able to help you meet your goals and objectives?
Yes, yes. because you guys have been there for me through this whole time. Even when I thought you weren't there, you were there. So, but even though I didn't speak very much about my problems, I did speak about my problems. Just basically, you guys were there for me. So, I just want to say thank you for being there through my hardest times and through my good times. And also allowing me to go out and do stuff.
What would you like for people to know about CBH Care and Partnership?
That if you have any issues, any problems, that this would definitely be the place to get yourself straight.
Now in her late 80s, Irene Black continues to be an advocate for the mentally ill, as well as a thoughtful and generous supporter of CBH Care and its mission. Her commitment to mental health and to improving the lives of the mentally ill is outstanding and truly demonstrates the spirit of caring which the award celebrates.
I did not expect to be awarded for this. This was to me something that needed to be done. And I know the job is not at all finished, and much more needs to be done.